basketball!
Welcome back to the pod, everybody. Good morning. Let's Basketball is back. And we're going to get right into our first topic. But before we do that, shout out to our sponsor, Fat Dan's gift card. If you comment Kevin's drip in the description. All right. And for our first topic, we're going to get into redrafting the 2017 draft class, how this is going to work. We have the entire first and second rounds from the 2017 draft. Each of us are going to take 5 starters from the draft class. We're going to draft into our own teams. The order starts with me, then it goes Victor, then it goes Kevin, and then Daniel is last. We'll be snake drafting, so Daniel will have the 4th and 5th pick, and we'll go backwards in that order. So with my first pick, I'm going to take Jason Tatum. Obvious pick here, so we can chalk that up as my first pick.
With the second pick, I was between 2 players, but ultimately I think I'm going to have to go with Deere and Fox on this one at number 2.
Not bad. I'm thinking bigger here with my pick. I'm going to go ahead and take Lauri Markkanen.
Well, Kevin definitely took the big approach, which was my plan as well. So that kind of puts a damper on my plans. But you know what? We're going to go Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going to say Loki fell. I thought he
did.
I think he went early, in my opinion. But, there's a lot of people out here that can score, and in the NBA in general. But, Daniel, you got a back-to-back, so you can go ahead and pick one more.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just right out the gate, I'm going to go with Bam, just because I think it's a good idea to get a big in early, and a quality big is probably a good idea. So I'm going to go Bam.
All right, with my second pick in this draft, I know he's hurt, but he's still everything that I would ever want in a point guard. I'm going to go ahead and take Lonzo Ball.
I'm going to go with my second pick. I'm going to go with Kyle Kuzma.
I know for a fact who Miles is about to take.
Go ahead and give me Derek White.
Yep.
I was building the Celtics. I knew
Celtics Nation, stand up. Second team all defense. This guy could do it all. He's got it all. For my third pick, I'm going to go Jared Allen.
Dude, I was just about to take him.
Yeah, so was I. So was probably Kevin, too.
Dude, my team is going to be stacked on defense.
Yeah,
bro.
all of us were about to take him.
Tatum, Derek White, and Jared Allen. Stacked defense.
You're literally just building the Celtics.
Pretty much.
All right, with my third pick, I'm going to take OG Anunoby.
God damn it.
Ooh, great.
Man, who told
player.
you? Who told you about OG Anunoby? Who told you about him?
IU legend.
I'm just going to get another shooter up in there. Go ahead and give me Kid Cudi Jr., Malik Monk.
Good pick.
That was a good
pick.
Go.
You know what? Yeah, okay. I'll take Dennis Smith Jr. and then I'll take Dylan Brooks. The long payout. And he's not been playing bad this year. So maybe we're not giving him enough credit. He didn't deserve the contract that he got, in my opinion, but maybe he is worth something. So we'll see.
I'm very torn up right now if I should go with the smaller lineup or a little bit of a bigger lineup. Nah, fuck it. I need speed and agility. Let me get John Collins. I couldn't think of his name. I'm going to go ahead and take John Collins with my 4th pick.
Solid pick.
Solid. All right, to fill my guards up, I'm going to take Josh Hart. Player.
Damn it.
Yeah. I love Josh Hart.
Dude, he slipped so far, bro. I just needed one more pick and I could have had him. Then I would have the ultimate defense, bro. I swear. All right, I'm going to need either a 2 or a 4. 4 is the weakest position. Power forward is the weakest position. So I'm going to take Monte Morris.
Oh, that's a good pick.
I'm going to take Monte Morris at 51. Steal of the draft. And I got another pick. My apologies, boys. I do have another pick.
Wrap up your lineup.
Monte Morris. And now I need a 4. I'm going to go. I'm thinking about Justin Jackson. I'm thinking about it. UNC legend.
You're better off getting Giles.
Dude, I'm not taking Henry, bro. Jordan Bell or Justin Jackson? Do you think Justin Jackson could play the 4?
I think you should pick Semi Ojeleye.
I was going to take Semi Ojeleye, but then I thought about...
That would complete your Boston lineup. He was drafted to Boston.
I know. I was thinking about our 2K chances though, and I don't even know if he's in 2K right now. So,
I don't think he is. We could create him.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember I've actually talked to Semi Ojale on the phone. He posted his phone number to Instagram one time. But all right, I'm gonna take Justin Jackson, UNC legend, and I'm gonna try to run him at the 4. I have no idea how that's gonna work if we do this in 2K, so we'll see. But to round up my roster, just so I could repeat the roster since this was my last pick, I got at the 1, Derek White. At the 2, I have Monte Morris. At the 3, I have Tatum. You know what? At the 3, I'll put Justin Jackson. At the 4, I have Tatum. At the 5, Jared Allen. That's Mike's team.
So with my last pick, I need a center. And looking at it, I think Thomas Bryant is the best option. So I'm going to fill that role. And with my final team, I got Fox, Josh Hart, OG, Kyle Kuzma, and Thomas Bryant.
That's a solid ass team, dude. Holy shit.
All right. Is it my turn?
It's Kevin.
Nope. There is a center that I'm surprised didn't get picked up. And I'm not going to say his name, but Daniel already has a center. I could say him, but I'm not going to. But with my last pick, add to the shooting that we already have. I'm going to need that lefty from Memphis. Give me Luke Kennard.
Fuck!
That's a good pick.
And
I just looked at that, dude.
Yeah. And
That
to wrap up my team, I got Lonzo Ball at the 1, Malik Monk at the 2, Luke Kennard at the 3, John Collins at the 4, and Lowry Markkanen at the 5. We're running a little bit small, but I got the speed and athleticism and shooting in my lineup.
Dude, I took Justin Jackson over Luke Kennard, man. How did I not see Luke Kennard? That would have fit seamlessly.
Dude, no, that's why when you said you needed a 4,
He's
I
a
was
lotto
like,
pick.
when you said you needed a 4, I literally, I was.
Dude, I think my eyes just skipped him, man. Like, also, Vic, you needed a center and you didn't take Zach Collins. You took Thomas Bryant.
Oh shit!
That's who I was gonna say. I was gonna say Zach Collins is the center.
Dude,
When he said Thomas Bryant, I was like, what team is he on?
No, he's on the Heat right now. I thought.
Yeah, he's on the Heat. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Collins is a starter in the league, bud.
Fuck, dude, I didn't see him.
And he's a pretty good one too.
Oh my gosh.
Solid. He's solid.
Dude, also, dude, Jonathan Isaac too, man. I skipped on him.
Yeah,
as
no.
well.
I was gonna say for you, because you said you needed a 4. I thought you were gonna take Isaac.
Dude, I think I just naturally ignored the lottery because I assumed all those players would be gone, and then there was just so many still available.
Yeah, you fucked
There's a
up
handful
on
of
that.
duds in the lottery. Actually, no, there wasn't. It was a pretty solid lottery.
Besides Josh Jackson, dude.
Josh
Yeah.
Jackson, Frank.
Wait, who was your last pick, Victor? My last pick is going to be Jonathan Isaac. And so that completes my team with a starting point guard of Dennis Smith Jr., shooting guard Donovan Mitchell, small forward Dylan Brooks, Jonathan Isaac at the 4, and Bam at the 5.
All right. If this video reaches 15 likes, you can watch my team whip all their team's asses in 2K.
I really do think that my team would beat all of you guys.
I think
Hell no.
Victor's team actually is the best.
No,
What
come
was
on, guys.
Bro, you took
Come
Lonzo
on, y'all.
Ball. Lonzo Ball hasn't played in 3 years.
What about when he did play?
I mean, yeah, but
Plumber.
are we doing it when they were good or how they are now?
Not when they were
Not when they were in fucking middle school. That'd be stupid.
So how they're now, which means Lonzo's injured. But all right, bud.
Meaning he's still in the game. You can use him.
I mean, okay.
I should comment down below though who you guys think has the best team. And that person, never mind. I was gonna say gets a bye, but we have an even number of people, so that'd make no sense. They automatically advance.
Yeah, just auto elimination.
One of
the teams.
They get to pick who's eliminated. Who doesn't get to play?
Yeah, if they pick the worst team, that team is auto eliminated.
Fire.
Let's go.
Let's go, Kobe.
If you made it this far into the video, please give us a like and a subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. It helps us out a lot. So we appreciate if you guys can support the channel. And if you are listening in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure to give us a rating. It helps us out a lot and it makes us know what we are doing well and not. Damn, bro, I can't believe I missed Zach Collins.
Dude,
I can't believe, dude. Honestly,
I
that was
took
probably
Justin Jackson
that
over
was
Luke Kennard.
that was the most realistic like scream that I think I've ever done when Kevin picked up Luke Kennard because I didn't think he needed anyone big.
I literally was
guard.
like, I need a 4 who could stretch, and Luke Kennard was right there. I didn't take it.
No, that's what you were like teasing me, dude. You were like, I need a 4, this and that. I'm like,
I was like, I'm gonna take Justin Jackson, who's not a 4, and run him out of position instead of taking the lottery pick from Duke. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Fuck.
So we are closing in on 2 months into the NBA season with getting a wrap to the NBA in-season tournament. We haven't seen any trade starts so far this season, but we're about 2 months away from the trade deadline. We're going to kind of go ahead and talk about which teams we think could and should make a move by the trade deadline. There's talks about the Knicks aiming right now. They're shopping for an all-star on the trade block to add to their team. I know in the summer there was a lot of buzz of either like Donovan Mitchell or Cat possibly being traded to the Knicks. So that is still a possibility. The Clippers, I mean, they already did just pull off a big trade during the season, but, you know, it is possible that they are moving Westbrook to the Miami Heat that I've heard recently. And I definitely think they should do that, but we'll definitely get into that later. Celtics are expected to make some moves here by the trade deadline to add depth to their lineup. And the Lakers as well are expected to make some moves as well, possibly making a push for Zach LaVine or other all-stars. I know they're looking at Pascal Siakam too in Toronto, which I think will be pretty interesting. But what do you guys think those teams should aim for if they plan to make a move by the trade deadline? And is there any teams that I possibly missed?
Since you mentioned Zach LaVine, I saw something today that the Pistons, since they are starting off the season so bad, they're looking to entertain that Zach LaVine trade and see what the Bulls would want in exchange for him. So there's a possibility that Zach LaVine could go to Detroit.
That would
Wow.
be so funny.
That would be
so poetic for Zach LaVine to go to Detroit. The next Blake Griffin
Yeah.
trade. You know what I mean?
That would be that'd be Chicago sticking it to him for sure. For like all of like the bad stuff that's been happening in their locker room too. So I'm sure you'd appreciate that.
As Chicago fans, do you guys want to see LaVine go to Detroit?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest. If he's getting traded, I don't really care where he goes.
Yeah.
Like it's just whatever we can get the best in return for. To be honest, I don't really give a shit where he goes.
That's why
I don't think about it one bit.
That's why I would say I wouldn't want him maybe to go to the Pistons because, like Kevin said, I would want something for that guy, and I don't really think the Pistons have anything to offer right now that would make us better.
They have one of the best rookies in the class right now. A Sar would be sick to pick up. I think Sar Thompson.
I don't think they give him up. I think they give up Ivy. I think Ivy would be the best player. I think they keep Cade, Duren, and Asar for sure.
Yeah, Cade and Duren are definitely getting traded, or definitely going to be not traded on the team. But if I had to pick anybody, it definitely would be between those two guys.
Ivy's no longer a starter anymore, and Monty Williams didn't even tell him that he was going to be coming on a bench role this year. So I definitely think they'll probably move on from him.
Maybe Killian Hayes to Chicago.
No, I probably wouldn't even be a fan anymore. But we were talking about the Lakers a second ago. They have their eyes on making teams with the Raptors, the Wizards, the Jazz, and the Nets. And the reason they kind of broke it down as well of the reasons that they were looking for these teams and what they were aiming for. With Washington, for some reason, they're intrigued to bring Kyle Kuzma back to LA. I don't really think Kyle Kuzma is what they need in LA right now, especially if they want to win a championship. I think the best team that they could possibly trade for in this scenario is possibly Toronto, because guys like OG Anunoby would help a lot on guys like Kevin Durant and a bunch of the other big wings that the West has. So I feel like if they attack any team for a trade, I say either go OG in Toronto or Mikal from Brooklyn to help out that defense over there.
My thoughts on Mikal Bridges. I would assume the Nets wouldn't give him up, but there have been rumblings about Cam Thomas potentially becoming the man on that team if they were to get rid of Bridges, depending on if the Nets are going to believe in him or not. But I could see, I mean, if they traded for Bridges, what do they give up? Do they give up probably Vanderbilt for sure, young guy who could play defense? Maybe Gabe Vincent too. What do you think they give up for Bridges?
Bridges, I could possibly see them sending over Hachimura,
Honestly,
if
maybe all
anybody.
three of those guys.
All three of those guys probably for Bridges. Vincent has barely even played this year, so I don't really
That's
think they'd
true.
be missing out on too much letting them go.
It's also like younger guys too. I don't know. That's an interesting one because I mean McHale I think could fit seamlessly with any roster right now. So I feel like that's a win-win for both sides.
I don't see the Nets trading Mikal Bridges, and I personally think if they were, I'd rather keep Mikal Bridges, to be honest with you. If I was the Nets, I like the team that they have. I wouldn't want to trade it for Rui, Gabe Vincent, and who else did you say?
Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Possibly
know.
get a reunion with D'Lo in Brooklyn, revive his career a little bit.
For me, I think it does kind of make sense. I would think the person who's benefiting the most from that trade is probably going to be the Lakers. Yeah, just on paper, or not even not sorry, not on paper because on paper it would seem like the Lakers would be losing that, but honestly, I would take Bridges over those three players very quickly. That being said, though, I don't think the Nets see the value in trading with a team like the Lakers when it means getting rid of kind of like you said that him player on their team.
Miles, I want to know what you think about the Celtics, though. You know, you're a big fan. What moves do you think they should make, if they
Uh,
should make any by the trade deadline? I know I brought up the depth earlier, which is like I think the biggest team's main concern. But if they make a move, what do you think they should make?
okay. So right off the bat, I do want to say that the Celtics I think are personally fine right now. I don't want them. I can't think of things to give up. I would not want to give up Pritchard or Hauser to get more depth. I mean, like we could give up like Cornet or something like that, but what kind of depth is that really going to bring in at the end of the day? So right off the bat, before I talk about this, I do want to say I prefer they don't trade. But since the question was if they do trade, what do you think they should do? Definitely, like we've been saying for months now, they need to go after a big. And I think Horford is solid, but Horford is too old to be playing that many minutes when Porzingis is out. And man, Cornette, love the guy to death, but I mean, he's not a reliable center. But giving up Hauser would be a huge loss for them because he literally just hit what 5 threes last night in the in-season tournament game or 2 nights ago. And Pritchard, I think, is a very solid backup point guard. That might be biased, but I truly do think that guy is a hooper at heart, and he tries hard. I think he's the heart. He plays the hardest on the team personally. But as far as a potential trade, I think Derek White is off the table. Obviously, well, Derek White would be in the 5 starters, I guess, at this point. So the 5 starters would be off the table, which leaves Pritchard, Hauser, Horford, Cornette as potential trade pieces. So using those pieces, if they're going to get a big, I think they would have to get rid of Al Horford. But what is Al Horford's value right now? So let's say they give up Horford, Hauser, and I don't know, some kind of pick, some kind of player salary dump. What could they get with that? What big? There's not a lot. There's not a lot of good ones. What do you guys think? I'm going to take a second to think about what kind of centers they could bring in. But what do you guys think?
I'm kind of just like looking at what they have to offer. Like I would say the biggest name they probably have to offer off the bench would be Al Horford, but he's what, 38?
I think he's approaching 39 this year.
Approaching 39. By the end of the season, he'll probably be 39 years old. Trade value is practically non-existent for this guy at this point. There's a big possibility that he even retires at the end of this year, which I think he probably will. But you breaking it down just like that, I feel like they might as well just keep the chemistry and just keep on doing what they're doing because it is working so far. So making a trade, I feel like would damn near make them worse off if they went and tried to got a big or maybe like another forward or something. So if I were the Celtics, honestly, I would just keep trusting the process.
I feel the same way. I am, while you guys discuss another trade, I am going to look at trade. I'm going to look at what kind of center they could possibly get. So just for the shits and gigs.
Yeah, I just want to add that Shams did come out and say that he expects the Celtics to be active in the trade market as they get closer to February. So they are probably going to look into trades. I don't know what they're going to be looking for, but I know the Celtics, they're looking to win now. They want that championship, and they're going to make whatever's best for the organization. If they don't find something that fits, they're not going to trade for it.
Definitely not.
In Brad, we trust.
Another interesting team, though, was the Clippers. You know, the struggles that they've been having, it does seem like Westbrook might be on his way out. And it has been rumored that he could go to Miami, which I definitely think that the Clippers should do something. Westbrook and Harden on the court together simply just doesn't work. Not even a little bit. The offense, I still think the offense and everyone in general still looks kind of lost. They don't know how to play with each other. That we had in that discussion a few weeks ago when the trade was first made. But yeah, I think they're probably going to be sending Westbrook over to Miami. But what does Miami have to throw back at LA for Westbrook? Was there like a projected deal out there?
I saw Thomas Bryant and Josh Richardson in exchange for Westbrook.
Okay.
I really do think Josh Richardson's shooting is solid for Miami. I think that they're taking a loss with that, but
No,
I
Well,
don't know.
There's
He-
no scenario to me in which Miami wins that trade because they're still at the end of the day getting Westbrook. And to me, I think that Westbrook and Jimmy Butler would not play well together, but that's just my opinion.
I think it's like a culture move too, because we know that Russ is like one of the hardest workers in the NBA, and I think that he would fit their culture and embrace it enough to like be productive for them. I think is a little bit of the reasoning there. Don't quote me on that. That might be
No.
headcanon, but
No, I definitely agree.
You
Pat
should be in that
Riley-
meeting room.
Pat Riley said that they didn't try to trade as much for Damian Lillard as they did for Drew Holiday because they wanted someone who was good defensively and that fit the Heat culture, and that's why they tried to give up more for Drew. And so that's why I think that they would do that for Westbrook because, like you said, his work ethic is there, and he's a little bit better defensively than Lillard. And the Miami Heat's been looking for a guard. It seems like they want to replace Kyle Lowry, and I think that could be Westbrook. I don't know how he'll fit. I don't think he'll be that bad on there. I think it would be a slight upgrade from Kyle Lowry.
I was just gonna say, going off of what you said, Miles, that makes sense. I would be excited to see that, and I would hope that that would be the case as a Westbrook fan. But I don't know. I just don't see it really going through. Although Westbrook in a Miami jersey would look kind of sick.
I also want to say like I think we all have the connotation of Kyle Lowry being like old and like washed up at this point. But Westbrook is only 2 years younger than Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's 37, Westbrook is 35. So is this trade really beneficial for Miami at this point in time? For what, 2 more years of having a solid point guard?
I feel like they're just going to end up in the same exact spot that they probably would not doing this trade, seating wise, the way the season goes. At this point, it would just be a switch up, change of scenery.
Yeah.
No benefit, no gain, no loss. It's just like you said, it's for the culture. Send Westbrook to Miami. Why the fuck not? They don't have to pay him barely anything.
I will say it kind of reminds me slightly of the situation with Boston, in which you're kind of right on the cusp of something, and like Kevin said, it might just be a little change of scenery that's needed to push you over that edge. I'm not saying that the Heat will beat the other teams in the East this year, but I do agree with what Kevin said. I think that change of pace, even though while Kevin said it won't have any effect, that's ultimately what they're going for, is just to see if there's anything good that comes out of it. Same way with the Porzingis trade is kind of how I look at it.
Coming back to that Celtics trade, now that I've had some time to digest it, I got two candidates. Not happy with either of them. Happier with one more than the other one. The first one, the one I'm less happy with, Thomas Bryant. You could bring in Thomas Bryant, giving up Al Horford and Sam Hauser for Thomas Bryant is more of an investment for a big in the time, because Horford's bound to retire soon. So you get Thomas Bryant back, younger center, but you're giving up Hauser. At the same time, Miami, that's another corner shooter that they could have on the team, another guy who could stretch the floor. And he's a taller player. He's taller. I wouldn't call him a guard quite there, but he could play the two, taller two. And you know what? I think Hauser would fit into that culture. Like what does Duncan Robinson do that Sam Hauser can't do? So if Duncan Robinson could be there, Hauser could fit there too. Now, am I happy giving up Hauser? No, I'm not. But getting Thomas Bryant would be an upgrade at the center position from Al Horford. So I hate to say that, but just age wise. Second, Drew Eubanks, 26 years old, a lot of potential. If Phoenix is in win now mode, I think getting Al Horford as a veteran center, and Sam Hauser as another shooter on their roster could have the same effect. I think that's a win-win for both sides. And again, Eubanks is an investment for the future, young center. So those are my two guys, in my humble opinion, who I think might work. Do I recommend they do it? No. But since you asked, those two guys.
Well, I don't think anyone asked. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, no, honestly, yeah, those are a lot of great points. I actually would like to see that switch up done. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
I definitely like that trade with Phoenix a lot more. I mean, I know we kind of meme Eubanks a lot during our podcast and stuff, but over the past few games he has been playing pretty well, and he's been playing a lot of very valuable minutes for the Suns. So if they could possibly do something like that, I say why not, honestly. It seems like you don't love that trade too much for them to have the Celtics make it, but
I have a very deep intertwined connection with Al Horford, a very complex relationship. So to see him go, it's like a piece of me leaving. So
Christ.
I will say, for as long as I've been watching basketball, Al Horford has been on my damn screen. On the Celtics too.
The city loves him so much that they sent him away and then brought him back. And then he beat Giannis in a series, man. The Giannis stopper. 37-year-old Al Horford. Don't forget what he did. Nightmares. He dunked on him, bro. I know y'all remember that.
Giannis gets dunked on a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
when
by
you're a rim
37-year-old
protector,
Al Horford.
but when you're a rim protector and you go for those blocks, it's bound to happen to you.
For sure.
It's just what happens.
He also doesn't
But,
care.
Yeah, true. He did care in this instance because Horford elbowed him in the face, but like
Horford's a
Hey,
big dude.
have you guys that reminded me about Horford with Jimmy Butler doing the T thing? Did you guys see Jimmy Butler do that troll like starting five or whatever? So they did like a spin the wheel starting five, and he put like all these like random NBA players that aren't that great, that haven't done that good in the NBA, and then he put Al Horford at the center.
That's pretty funny.
That's
Who
pretty
were
funny.
some of the players on that?
I can't remember, to be honest with you, but I remember Al Horford was on that list, and he knew what he was doing. Like he looked at the camera, smiled, and he was like, "That's my all-time starting five."
I don't like that. Not a big fan of that joke.
Oh,
Not a big fan
of
of that
course
joke.
you wouldn't be a fan of that joke. That's just hilarious.
Playoff Jimmy is the biggest NBA hoax in modern NBA history.
It's not a hoax. It happened twice.
Where was he in the finals? Where was he when it mattered? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I will add before we move on to the next topic that over the course of 2 games, Jaylen Brown put up 43 shot attempts and 0 assists. Moving on. So,
You know what's funny? I was gonna say something about Jaylen Brown too, but I didn't. I kept it back here.
The Athletics have provided us a triangle of the NBA teams tier list, and we're gonna go ahead through all the tiers and rate them and see what we think. Maybe move some teams around. So at the very bottom of the triangle, we got the teams that are incomprehensibly bad, like ass of the ass. This is basically what it is. And we got the Wizards, the Spurs, and the Pistons. Is there any need for discussion here?
I'm going to say one thing. I think the Pistons deserve to be one tier lower than that. The Pistons are awful. They
Pistons are
fucking
pretty
suck.
fucking bad.
17
suck ass.
losses in a row. Come on.
Yeah,
They didn't get a
bro.
loss the entire timeline of last month. The entire last month, no wins.
Didn't win a
All right.
single game. That's bad.
So I do think that they did get one thing wrong on that bottom tier. I think they need to add the Bulls and that incomprehensibly bad.
Yeah, they should have added them here. So kind of going on to the next tier of teams here, we have not tanking yet, but maybe someday, and hopefully someday. We got the Jazz, we got Portland, we got Charlotte, Chicago, and Memphis. So we can all kind of agree that Chicago should be in that ass section.
Incomprehensible. Yeah.
I have a problem with Memphis. Memphis, this is like just a bad streak for them because they're missing their best player. I don't know if I'd put Memphis in there just yet.
Tanking, like I don't understand.
I would move Memphis up
why
one
they should tank.
for the reasons that, like we said. I mean that game that 20-something game suspension is dwindling.
It's a little recency bias on that, but
yeah, for sure.
It's because they're 5-14 right now.
Yeah, they're not playing too well. It does seem like they just hit like a very bad streak, but everything else seems kind of in place.
Yeah.
The Jazz, yeah, I'd probably keep them here now that I'm thinking about it. I did say you could probably put them a tier up, but Jordan Clarkson really hasn't showed up this season at all, and the Jazz don't really have that great of a future on their hands either. So I would say they should probably just blow it up, if anything.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot the Jazz existed for a little bit.
they're probably just to piggyback that. I think they're like my least favorite team to watch in the NBA.
After they lost Donovan Mitchell, I think I just stopped caring that they existed. But yeah, so can we all agree that Memphis is probably the only one that would move and it would go up? Well, and we said Bulls would be incomprehensibly bad.
Yeah.
It sucks to see Charlotte in that tier list too. I think they have potential, but
right now they're pretty fucking bad.
They had potential like last 2-3 years, but it's coming to an end.
No, they've had a terrible events happen to their roster. Like I feel like a lot of players like on that roster just like went either insane or left the NBA.
To add to that, I was just gonna say just a terrible history of a franchise. Like they really haven't. Like, they've never been like solid. Like although Charlotte's pretty good this year. That hasn't been a case in a very long time.
I saw. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, has the Pistons had a good year in like 3
They won in 04.
Yeah.
They won the championship in 04, yeah.
Kai Jones, man. What the fuck happened to him?
Yeah, bro. He literally just like lost his mind.
It's a curse.
Wait, I actually don't know what you guys are talking about with Kai Jones. What is that?
Bro, look up his IG live.
Like on Safari or his actual IG live right now?
Like look it up on YouTube. Look up Kai Jones IG live.
He's live right now. He's doing
One
a
of my
24-hour stream.
one of my favorite YouTubers breaks down, very knowledgeable basketball YouTuber, breaks down all-time rosters, and he did one for Charlotte, and the starting point guard all time was Terry Rozier. I think that says enough.
There's no way it would be Terry Rozier.
LaMelo Ball was 2. He was playing the 2.
Oh God.
But it was
Where
Terry
they put
Rozier.
Del Curry.
Okay, so Del Curry technically falls under Pelicans, just the way those teams work. He would fall under Pelicans. So all-time Charlotte was Terry Rozier at point guard. And I think
could
that
have had
speaks for
Muggsy.
itself. Muggsy also would fall under Pelicans history.
Oh yeah, true.
Like Alonzo Mourning, all those guys would fall under Pelicans.
Okay. So
But
yeah,
yeah.
they'd be pretty bad. All right, so the next tier up ahead, we got looking to make the play-in. We got Toronto, we got the Clippers, we have the Nets, the Warriors, and the Rockets. I think they did pretty good with this. The next tier above this is also called play-in or better, so a lot of these teams can fall into it as well. But Warriors, I think they're definitely going to be in a play-in situation near the end of the season. I don't really see them cracking the top 6 in the West, especially with the way that they've been playing as a team and as individuals. But everything else here seems pretty justifiable. I think the Rockets can definitely make a push for the play-in. Brooklyn as well. The Clippers, they should be a playoff team if we're being honest with the amount of names that they have.
It's crazy that PG, Kawhi, and Harden are in the play-in tier and not even the better play-in tier. They're in the low play-in tier.
Yeah. Did you see what PJ Tucker said? He was like, "There's just simply not enough basketballs for this team."
Oh, don't even get me fucking started on PJ Tucker, bro.
PJ
I know
Tucker
y'all
also
saw that stat.
He's also dropped 0 points the past 9 games.
It was like
0 fucking points.
It's like 90 minutes. Or how many fucking minutes? Well, I don't know how many minutes it was, but he had 0 points and a surplus of minutes.
3 of the games he DNP'd actually. So looking up at the tier above, we have it's kind of similar to this one. We have play-in or better. We got the Indianapolis Pacers, Atlanta Hawks, Cavaliers, Lakers, and the Miami Heat. I'm going to say the Pacers can probably make a push for a playoff team. Yeah. They've been hot recently. They've been playing very well. I believe they're 3 or 4 games over 500, which is pretty solid. Tyrese is putting up 13 assists a game with 0 turnovers every single night, damn near it seems like, which is just insane. So I think we should put a little bit more respect on the Pacers and possibly put them up to even a playoff team in the East.
I would lower the Pelicans to this tier. I think the Pelicans have a strong chance of being a play-in team. And one more thing, I hate to see the Hawks as a perennial play-in team. I feel like they're always in the play-in, man.
That is true. They are always in the play-in. Even the year that they went to the conference finals, 2021, they were only a 5th seeded team. Like they weren't a very high seeded team that year. That's damn near a play-in team if it was introduced, but
yeah, they're just always in that middle spot. They're like the Pacers every other year except this year.
Yeah.
They're just like constantly mid.
For me, I would probably move the Pacers and the Lakers together. Yeah. I think honestly both of those teams are more likely to win some playoffs than a few of these teams. Like Pelicans, I would probably get out of that top row. And then, I mean, I must just be not paying attention because the Magic snuck their way up there. Interesting.
They're good this year.
Yeah.
They beat the shit out of my Celtics.
The Magic are very solid.
But do we see them as like is that accurate though? Would you guys really put them above the Pacers and above the Lakers this year?
I would personally. I think they're still just riding a streak. I think they'll drop. I would personally say that the Pacers are better, but I know we had this debate a couple weeks ago about who we think is going to be better in 5 years and stuff, but I think that the Pacers are better. I think they're way harder to guard than Orlando is. But Orlando's defense shits on the Pacers. So I think in a playoff setting, Orlando would be better suited.
Yeah. Orlando also lacks like a star. Like Indiana has a star in Tyrese Haliburton. Orlando really doesn't yet. until I think they're expecting Paolo to fill that role, and he's been playing very good this season. But
I
I'd
think
probably
Orlando's
consider,
just slightly inconsistent right now.
yeah, they are. But I'd probably throw them in the tier of play-in if we're gonna throw Indiana in there.
See, this is the thing. I would move Lakers and Pacers up, but when it comes to the Pacers, I think that they're going to be a team that I could see them maybe winning that first round of playoffs. I think that they are good enough to do that. They have the squad and the talent to beat a team in the first round. I think that they just have a good roster overall. That offense, we've seen it. They beat the Celtics in the in-season tournament. I think they have a lot of good potential. So
Wait, so are you saying you put them not just one tier above, but two? Or you're just
no,
saying no? They just
just one
okay.
tier.
I'm gonna be honest. I like the Lakers in this tier.
Hmm.
They're sitting fourth in the West right now.
Yeah,
You're
but they're
talking to
gonna.
a Celtics fan.
I think they're gonna.
Remember
Okay,
that.
all right, all right.
Remember
No,
that.
take the bias out of this. I think they're gonna. I think they'll drop. Remember, we're only 20 games in. It's a long season for them. 38-year-old LeBron.
They're
He's
going
gonna
I
to
don't
be
start
think they'll
having
drop lower than
hamstring.
sixth.
Yeah, me neither. I agree. LeBron and AD are both just gonna have a lot of thigh soreness in the next coming games and weeks.
But moving on to the next tier of teams, we have teams that are for sure, according to the Athletics, going to make the playoffs. We got Orlando. We've already discussed them. We have Sacramento, Philadelphia, Dallas, New Orleans, and New York.
Right off the bat, I mean, for me, I agree with most of this list. Like I said, we already talked about Orlando. Everyone's good where they're at, except for maybe the Sixers. I would maybe put the Sixers a tier above, but that's really the only team that I think would move. Every other team in this section seems like it's in a good spot, honestly.
see. I'm in the same boat as you. I think the only team I'd move up is the Sixers. They're on the brink of contention every year. They're always getting to the second round, but never getting out of it. So I think that's why they're at that brink of contention spot. And with Tyrese Maxey, how well he's been playing, and Joel Embiid, he's averaging the most points per game. I think they're definitely on the brink of contention.
I agree as well. Embiid
Same
just has
here.
to stay healthy because people don't really realize it, but Embiid misses a lot of games. Like we clown AD and a bunch of other guys for missing games. Embiid does miss a lot too. And that's definitely going to play a part because I know he's been missing some games recently, but I would move them up as well. But moving along this list, we have teams that are in the brink of contention. We have the Thunder and we have the Suns. And my question is, the Thunder are they like for real? Or is this kind of
Dude,
just recency?
The
I,
recency.
I
That's
think it's
that's my
recency.
opinion.
they're dude way too young for contender, bro. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think.
Mhm.
And I was gonna say when I was making my comment about the 76ers that I would switch those two out. I think that OKC is a playoff team for sure. They have the right stuff to get in there this year, but they're just not proven. They're very young, and to put them one tier below the juggernauts of the league, I think is a little too far. I think that's a little bit of an overstep.
Also, like you could body the regular season with all these young guys running up and down the court, the athleticism, all that stuff. But once you get to the playoffs and like these older players lock in and the experience comes in, like
Yeah. It's
no
a
way
different game.
they're no way they're contenders.
No. Or on the brink of it.
Yeah, maybe like I'd say 2 more years. 2 more years, I think they'll be like for real contenders.
But now moving up to the contenders, we have the Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, Milwaukee Bucks. Some people are saying that the Timberwolves are kind of a little bit of recency bias too, but they do have a little bit of an older team. They do have one of the best defenses in the NBA, and they have one of the best rising stars in the NBA. So I don't, and they're number one in the West right now. So I hate to kind of take the credit away from them and say that they aren't contenders, but as of now, they look pretty damn good. Ant looks pretty damn good. Rudy Gobert has been playing very good this season on the defensive end. I'm gonna give them the respect here and say that I think they're legit. A lot more legit than the Thunder.
Yeah.
They've beaten good teams this year.
I think they're legit. I'm just scared of them in a 7-game series. Like, yeah, they beat okay. I know I keep talking about Boston, but let's talk. We know Boston and Denver are the favorites. You beat Boston, right? Do you think they could take Boston in a 7-game series in the finals?
I think they
I
can
don't know.
definitely compete. I think it'll definitely be like a good show. I wouldn't
Yeah.
write them off at all if that final series were to happen.
Yeah. I'll give him the respect. I'll give him the respect. Rudy Gobert has been playing out of his mind defensively this year. We've seen what Ant does. And I think Cat as a second option is like the most underrated part of this team. People are saying he needs to go, but
No,
I don't agree
I
with
think they should
that.
definitely keep him. Him as a second option has been working out very well for them.
That's arguably the best shooting big man ever. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think they're legit.
they need to keep him there if they want to win.
Yeah.
They
Also, Jaden McDaniels, put some respect on the name, bro.
Jaden McDaniels is tough.
No, I agree with everything that you guys said. I think this list could honestly be a little bit better, which I think we've already kind of established. But specifically, what I'm talking about is I would maybe put Boston and Nuggets at the top of the pyramid and have them be in kind of a world of their own. Maybe Milwaukee, but honestly, I don't think I could bring myself to do that. OKC, I obviously already said would drop a tier. So then you would have Timberwolves, Bucks, and Suns in brink of contention, and then contenders is obviously Boston and Nuggets. I think that list makes sense, right? I think that those three teams of the Suns, Timberwolves, and who was the third? Oh, and the Bucks are all kind of in the same boat, and they're all kind of under similar situations. Whereas the top of the pyramid, which is kind of the best type of offensive teams that we've seen kind of this season, which is to me Boston and the Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Timberwolves down one and the brink of contention. They are sitting first in the West right now. Their defense is the best in the NBA currently, but I just don't. I think that lack of experience in the playoffs is what's going to hurt them. We've seen Rudy Gobert in the playoffs previously with the Jazz. I know he's probably the one player on that team that has the most playoff experience, but I still don't think that's going to be enough for them to go a 7-game series with how competitive the West is. I just don't see them going to the finals this year. Couple years though, they're a team to watch out for. They're going to be scary, but right now I would put them one lower, but I do think they are ahead of the Thunder though.
I think a Denver versus Minnesota series would be like the best possible playoff series to watch. I think that would be insanely good.
You think of Denver, Minnesota, like a rerun from the first round last year
Yeah.
when they just absolutely steamrolled Minnesota?
Hey, Ant, watching Ant try his best out there, I think he's coming back on that revenge tour. I think that whole team took that personal. I think if they matched up again, it'd be a dogfight.
Wasn't that all right? So I remember in the playoffs last year, Denver went they swept the second round, third round, and I think they lost to the Timberwolves once, right?
Yeah, they
The
lost
Heat
one game.
once. Yeah. So their only two losses were against the Heat and the Timberwolves.
That's
Hey,
insane.
don't knock that they took that personally. They'll be back.
I hope so. That'd be a good
The
team
only
to
thing
watch.
I fear with the Timberwolves is Rudy Gobert doesn't bring that Utah Jazz effect with them to the Timberwolves. How the Jazz were a number one seed for a few years in a row, and then they would just be exited first or second round. So I'm hoping that shit's in the past. They left that in Utah because that would be bad to see a team that has been struggling just for what it seems like ever finally get a number one seed locking in and then just.
Rudy
But
Gobert beating his addiction to losing.
yeah, he hasn't yet.
The
Still
the
battling.
greatest the greatest Timberwolves achievement was a conference finals 20 years ago. Let's not forget that.
Can,
This is
can we
big.
can we really quick? I think it would be fun for us to like maybe name a team that's not at the top of the pyramid. Maybe somebody that's in the looking to make the play in or somewhere along those lines that we think has a shot at being a contender that like will be in the finals.
So like a dark horse kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess if you want to use layman terms, but yeah. So for my team of like who's going to be a dark horse coming out of the bottom of the pyramid, it's not really the bottom because none of those teams at the very bottom will be able to. But the Pacers, I do think that the recency bias obviously plays a role, but just how they're looking, man, in the later season, I could see them being closer to the top of that pyramid. Maybe not making the finals, but at the same time, who knows? We will see.
I'll go next. If you want me to pick a dark horse team, I'm going to take the Kings. De'Aaron Fox is playing like an MVP this year, and that team is clicking right now. Sabonis is obviously Sabonis, baby Jokic. Keegan Murray's back, looking a lot better. Harrison Barnes still trash, was always trash. But give me the Kings, man. Dark horse Kings pick right here.
I definitely do not dislike the Kings pick at all. I probably would throw them in there as well, but I'm also going to throw Dallas in there as well. I had them in the beginning of the year. I didn't think they were going to be that great, but they definitely surprised everybody. If they could just up that defense a little bit more than they have, I think they could definitely make a good push toward the finals. But yeah, I'm going to go Sacramento and Dallas for my dark horse picks.
For my dark horse, I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks. They are. What is that face, man?
The Knicks? Come on, man.
It's a
Julius Randle in the playoffs?
dark horse, man. Um,
Yeah.
A true Knicks fan.
yeah, I kind of liked how the Knicks are playing this season. They're rebounding the ball well, and they're playing very good defensively. I think they got a chance. Jalen Brunson, we've seen what he could do in the playoffs last year. I think they got a good shot at maybe getting the playoff contender spot. So
They have a history of whipping Boston's ass. So in a series, I could see that happening.
All right. And to wrap up today's episode, we are going to get into, once again, way too early MVP talk. And this thought kind of came to my mind recently with seeing a bunch of these young teams kind of take over early. Is it possible that we see some of the younger stars and the younger generation, such as Tyrese and Anthony Edwards, make a run for the MVP trophy? Now, that's kind of hard to say, yeah, when Nikola Jokic is leading the NBA in total points, rebounds, and assists currently. That motherfucker. Yeah, it's just like
Reigning MVP or sorry, reigning champion.
yeah, no, yeah, it's bro, it's just so hard to keep Jokic out of the conversation. But it would be cool to see guys like Ant and Tyrese possibly make a push for this, just seeing so how important they are to their teams. But then again, Jokic. So it's going to be so hard to say. But personally, I would love to see it, and I think it's definitely possible.
So the current MVP ladder right now, it came out 5 days ago, has Jokic number one, Embiid two, three is Luka tied with Shea, five is Giannis, six is Haliburton, seven Tatum, eight is KD, nine is Anthony Edwards, and 10 is LeBron. So Anthony Edwards and Tyrese do have a chance at possibly doing it. They just got to turn the fuck up.
Yeah, Tyrese has a little bit. It seems like he has like a little bit of a better chance to make a push for it than Anthony Edwards does. But Shea at third,
he's tied.
I think you guys are underestimating their standings, their conference standings. That's like arguably one of the biggest factors. That's why he's up there, because Oklahoma's what, second right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like that's true. But like
that's why Tatum at seventh is crazy, bro.
Like I completely understand, but like I just don't think Shea is just MVP of the league worthy or top five.
I mean, it's crazy that Fox isn't there either.
Yeah, dude,
well,
that's what
he hasn't been back long.
True.
And I don't know if the Kings have the greatest record to show for it at the moment. So
if one of these younger players were to win it, I'd like to see Fox be one of those guys that wins it. I think he's having a phenomenal season so far. But I think the reason why Shea is so high as he was is like he's averaging 30 right now with 5.9 rebounds and 6 assists. And he's also, I think, averaging like maybe the highest steals. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure on that.
Wrong. I don't know. For me, I think I agree with Kevin. Jokic has this year's MVP kind of locked up, especially when they what I would consider maybe cheated him out of last year's MVP. So I think it not only just makes sense to pick him this year, but it also really is the only option when you look at the numbers. And it's I think going forward after this year, we may see a change in that just because you guys remember at one point it was becoming kind of ridiculous to continue having LeBron James in the conversation of MVP because obviously yeah, whatever team he's on, he's impacting heavily and obviously he is the most valuable player. Whereas Jokic, I think that's kind of similar thing is going to happen after him winning his third. I think it'll kind of die down a little bit. Now, who do I think coulda, shoulda, woulda win the MVP? I guess I would like to see Tyrese Haliburton. I mean, like you guys said, he would have to do a lot between now and then, but I don't think it's too far fetched. And I think that it's really cool that he didn't revitalize the Pacers, but he's bringing a lot of life to that team, and he's definitely pulling them in the right direction. So yeah, that's my opinion.
One thing to mention is a lot of the MVP like candidates. We all know that the NBA to win an MVP, you have to have like a story to go along with it, and I think Tyrese Haliburton is like the best current story right now, just like his historic rise that he's having, basically, like Daniel said, reviving a franchise. And just like, I mean, he didn't come out of nowhere, but he pretty much came out of nowhere this season with just being in the MVP conversation. So after being what he was injury reserve all-star last year, or was he a legit all-star last year? I don't remember.
I
All I
can't
know is
remember.
he barely was an all-star last year. And so seeing him seeing this rise and all the hype he's getting on obviously all the accounts, all the coverage, all the media, I think if there's any dark horse for MVP, it would be him just because he has the best story. So I think for that, he would have a better shot than Ant. Back to Kevin's original question.
Quick question to wrap up today's episode. Tyrese Haliburton was drafted to the Sacramento Kings, and they traded him for Sabonis. Did the Kings trade the wrong point guard? Should they have gotten rid of Fox and kept Tyrese? Because
No.
right now it's kind of looking like that.
See,
I don't think so.
Charles Barkley said this the other game like, when the Pacers were playing the Celtics, and he said this is one of the very rare instances where you see a trade work out very, very well for both teams. So I think getting rid of Halliburton was good for the Kings, and then getting rid of Sabonis for the Pacers was good for them. So it equaled out on both sides. Do you guys think that Fox and Halliburton could have played well both each other there?
No, I think
Yeah,
they're. Oh, you do?
I think they could have definitely played well together. Yeah, both of them can play pretty well with other guards. So Halliburton would definitely take the keys as like the true point guard in this scenario, while Fox would kind of just remain like a scorer, I guess. I mean, both of them can play make, but there's been a lot of teams where they were very guard heavy, and the two guards ended up playing very well with each other. So I feel like they could have got it done.
I think they could have gotten it done, but I think it would severely diminish both of their effectiveness.
Yeah, I agree with what Mike said. Just because I think that a lot of times when it comes to like situations like this, players need their own team or their own organization or just a change up in order to kind of grow into who they're supposed to be. So for me, I think it just makes the most sense that had they stuck together, or sorry, not that had they stuck together, but had they stayed on their respective teams and nothing changed,
Wait, back to your original question. Do you think that trade worked out for both teams, or do you think that?
No, I mean the trade definitely worked out. Like both teams are better off, but like if the Kings could have somehow pulled off, or more so the Pacers could have somehow pulled off Fox for Sabonis and all the other stuff that were added in that trade, could possibly a team of Haliburton and Sabonis be better off than a team of Fox and Sabonis? Because I'm gonna say right now, I think Haliburton's definitely better than Fox.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's a way better shooter too.
Way better shooter. He's a way better playmaker.
Yeah.
Defense, I'm not quite sure who's better, but I don't think the gap is that big to fill. I don't think either of them are too like amazing.
I think Fox is usually a leader in steals though.
Yeah, but a lot of his steals come from like, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to discredit him in any way, but a lot of them just simply aren't like on ball defense steals. A lot of them are just based off like his quickness and getting in the passing lanes, which is still great. But
I will say Haliburton is kind of a cone on defense. The Pacers do try to hide him on defense. Watching their in-season tournament game, they were trying to get him switched on to ball handlers to take advantage of him. But he's also younger, so that's always, and defense is always something you can improve. So
honestly, I would go against the Tide here and say, well, I guess not against the Tide, but against what Kevin said and Victor. I don't think that the conversation between De'Aaron Fox and Haliburton is that. Even though you guys said it wasn't, obviously there's not a huge gap. I still don't. I couldn't confidently put one over the other, especially considering the season that De'Aaron Fox had last year, and the fact that we're only 20 games into this season, and Mike had said that last year, obviously Tyrese Haliburton didn't come out of nowhere, but even so, I think De'Aaron Fox was doing a lot more, say last year, for example, and so that's why I say I can't really confidently put one over the other. All right, folks. Well, that concludes this episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening on all social media platforms, as well as Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Want to give a huge shout out to all of our fans that have continued to listen to us and to engage with our content. We really appreciate it. And make sure you guys tune in for next week when we talk about what happens in the play-in tournament. Have a good week, everyone.